Today's video is just a quick one to let you know that the V1 and V2 adapter for CO2 recharging with your Pinter is now available to buy in the UK. These adapters are available from these 3D printers online. I will of course leave all the appropriate links in the description of this video, and I will put a copy of them in the comments too. You can get the ball lock adapter for £16 and you can get the Schrader valve version for £13. I'm not affiliated with these guys in any way and I will make no money whether you purchase or not, so it makes absolutely no difference to me. You may well have seen my video for the V1, which was the ball lock adapter using a CO2 unit, a mini regulator like this to inject the CO2, and my second video, which was the V2 adapter, which was the Schrader valve version using a bicycle CO2 injector like this. If you haven't watched those videos and you want more comprehensive details, then I suggest that you go and view them before making any purchase. I'll give you a close-up view now of my DIY version of the adapter when I made my original videos compared to the 3D printed version. So this was the ball lock adapter. You can see this is the one that I made from a used hopper bottle. This was just adhesive to hold this in, so it was never an amazing job, although it still has actually, kept intact to this day and served its purpose. But you can see now the 3D printed version of that, which definitely looks like a significant improvement. So if you would like to use them and you're still using the V1 type adapter such as this, a mini regulator with the ball lock connector, then that would be the one for you to purchase if you do not want to make your own DIY version. And then this was the V2 model, which was the Schrader valve instead of the ball lock adapter. This was a much neater affair and it worked out, I would say, much better. I think it was safer and it was neater. And that was really quite simple to make out of a used hopper bottle. However, there is the 3D printed variation of that, which looks pretty decent. And of course, if you don't want to go through the hassle of making your own DIY version and buying the drill bit and buying the Schrader valves and having a used hopper bottle, then now you can just go ahead and buy this for £13. And then with this Schrader valve, of course, you just use a bicycle pump, if you like, a bicycle tyre inflator with food grade CO2, just like you would with the V1 adapter, but then this uses the Schrader valve connector instead of the ball lock adapter. I have a pinter here with some American IPA in. It is about half empty now and it has definitely started to go flat. Yesterday when I poured a glass, the carbonation was very low. It definitely impaired the flavour and enjoyment of the beer, and it is no doubt time now that this brew needs to be recharged. So I'll take this opportunity to demonstrate using the Schrader valve 3D printed adapter how it would work, and you can see how efficient and effective it is. I'll let you see how the life is going from this beer. I'm not going to waste too much, but you can see there that the carbonation on this, you can see that that's very cloudy because I've just moved the pinter from my fridge in here to demonstrate this. So that will take 24 hours for the sediment to settle, but you can see that the carbonation out of that is, nothing. So that's why it needs recharging now. And then I'll pop it back in the fridge for 24 hours to settle. So recharging with CO2 is a simple affair. You keep your dial on number 5 at all times. Take the hop input cap out. Screw in your adapter all the way until it's totally tight. Attach your injector. And then release the CO2. You'll hear it pressurise, and then when the pressurisation stops, or in the event that the pressure release valve starts to vent gas, then you can stop the pressure or turn it off. Personally, I find that most of the time when you charge these, it only reaches a charge of 20 psi, and it is not enough to trigger the pressure relief valve. So you can see here that that is now on full pressure. It stopped pressurizing the vessel. No gas is coming out of there, which tells me that the pressure inside that is less than 30 psi. Turn the valve back off. Remove the injector. Unscrew the adapter. And that's it. This Pinter has now been recharged with CO2. You can see how simple that process was. This will now go back into the fridge to give that CO2 time to carbonate the beer, and of course give it time for that sediment to settle. You know, as I've recommended in my previous videos, if you're going to inject with CO2, recharge the vessel, then always do it after you've finished drinking that evening. And then when you put it back in your fridge, it's got 24 hours to settle before the next day. So any sediment can rest back to the bottom of the fermentation vessel, and it will give the new fresh CO2 time to recarbonate the beer. I may as well take this opportunity to answer 3 common questions that I get asked fairly often. The first one is, when you're using the Schrader valve version and the bicycle injector like this without a pressure dial on it, without that pressure gauge, is there a risk that you are going to overcharge the Pinter with gas and maybe crack the Pinter, blow it up, whatever? I don't know. Now, I personally believe that that is absolutely impossible without a pressure gauge, and I don't think it's personally a risk. This is just my opinion. I don't think it's any risk whatsoever not using a gauge, purely for the fact that experience has showed me that this is incapable of putting enough pressure in there to risk any damage to your Pinter. You might read on the packet of an adapter like this, or a unit like this, that it can inflate a bicycle inner tube to 100 or 150 psi. However, this is not a bicycle inner tube, and this absolutely cannot inflate this to 100 or 150 psi. The most common maximum pressure that I've achieved from something like this when I've tested the pressure is 20 psi. So put that aside, no matter what you put in this, no matter what you inject in this, with your pressure relief valve that is built into your Pinter on number 5, that's set at a maximum of around 30 psi. So if you go above that, that valve is going to open up in exactly the same way as it does when you're brewing and the pressure is increasing all the time from the actual conversion of sugars to CO2. As soon as you hit 30 psi, that valve is going to open up and vent the excess pressure. So how could you possibly ever get to 100 or 150 psi? Even if you bought a full-size CO2 canister, you could not charge that vessel to 100 and 150 psi, because the PRV is going to release gas at 30, and you're just going to be wasting all the gas coming out into the air. So, you know, to me, it's unfathomable that this could possibly be the case, that you can overcharge it. Secondary to this, you've got a PRV there that is set at around 30 psi, but if you could take the shell off this Pinter and look underneath the shell, round about here, you would see this. You can see there's your adjustable pressure relief valve, which Pinter calls the carbonation valve, and then you've got a secondary fail-safe PRV there, which is probably, I would guess, set to 35 psi. So if this one fails, there is even a secondary valve there that's going to vent excess gas at 35. I personally, using a unit like this and an adapter like this, have never managed to vent gas from either of them, which is an indicator that this, as I've demonstrated earlier, at full capacity, is not putting a pressure inside this vessel above 30 psi. The second question that I'm commonly asked is, do I find that these leak the gas? So if you use a little bit of gas to recharge a Pinter and set this aside for a week, when you come back a week later, is the gas bottle empty? This V1 type adapter, these mini regulators, if you don't put these together properly, these definitely have a tendency to leak gas, seep the gas out. I tend to put these together with quite some considerable effort, and I use PTFE tape to actually gas seal the threads and everything before I put it together. So you can have success with these as long as you put them together properly. The actual bicycle ones, I think these are less prone to leaking. I can only talk about this one that I purchased myself because I've not tried any others. This has served me brilliantly. When I bought the unit, it comes with a spare rubber O-ring that can go in the top, which is where gas seals it on this valve. But I've not actually used that because I've not had any leakage from it at all. I can recharge a pinter with this, set the unit down for 2 weeks, come back, and the gas that was in it will still be there, no problems. The thing I like about these is there's less connections than the actual mini regulator. You've only really got the bottle that squeezes in there, and then a sealing unit inside from where you turn it on and off. So there's less to go wrong, and I find this very successful. The third question is simply, which one do I prefer? And I would say my answer to that is quite simple. Since I created the Schrader valve version and I have used this, I've never used the ball lock version. I've never used the V1 version. I've never used this again. I think this is it's unnecessary complication. I personally don't think that the dial is needed. I love the simplicity of this unit. As I've just demonstrated, a few minutes ago, I love the fact you just pop it in, screw it on, blast it up, off. It's plug and play. It's so simple. And I think for pinter brewing, that simplicity is what we're looking for. I don't think we need complicated stuff. We don't want to complicate it. It's not like we've got brewing systems that already have ball lock adapters on and we need to connect multiple things to that. With the pinter, that's not the case at all. This is a one-stop shop, and I don't think that you will get better than this for recharging your pinter with CO₂. So if you're looking for a way to recharge your Pinter 3 with CO₂, this may be the solution for you. As I mentioned earlier, this is just what I do. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not recommending it. I'm not saying you should do it. It's entirely up to you whether you do it. However, it has proved incredibly successful for me. So that is it. That's the conclusion of this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.